What's up, everybody? Biker Dave here, out in a drive on my Hummer H3 Alpha. I got tons of videos on this car that I've had for a while now. Great running car. I really enjoy it. It runs fantastic. 167,000 miles in a 2008 model. This is the Alpha that has the V8, little 5.3 V8. Great vehicle. And anyway, this video is not about that. This video is going to be the story of my 1990 Chevrolet K1500 Silverado pickup truck that I owned for a while, and I did all kinds of cool stuff to it. Make sure you see the playlist link down below for it. On good things I improved on it, fixed up, just stuff I did to it. You'll see the playlist link down below. However, I want to get to what happened, because this truck that was running great for forever since I owned it. One day I was going to go purchase a used little YZ85 motocross bike. Guy lives way out in Monroe, Georgia, which was like 70 miles from me in Marietta. And so I'm going to go head out there and buy it from him. And excuse me if I delay or stall a little bit, because this has been over a year and a half since this happened, so I may have to think for a moment about the exact details of this story. Anyway, I went and filled up with fuel at a gas station I've never been to. And all these things will lead up to something that may not mean anything, but it means something to me because of what happened to the truck. I look back on things and I'm going, why did the truck die all of a sudden? So you'll see what I'm saying. Anyway, I filled up with fuel at a station I never go to. Heading out to Monroe, Georgia, which is way out in the boonies, on the eastern side of Metro Atlanta. And, just before I get to this guy's house, the truck just completely cut off on me as I'm stopped at a red light. And that had never happened since I owned it. Completely shut off. Alright, I crank it back up. I have to keep it running with the throttle now, which also I never had to do before. So I'm going, wow, this is freaking bizarre. And I eventually make it to the guy's house, get the bike, barely can limp back to the Loganville, Georgia, and this is late at night too where this is happening. I almost got stranded literally in the middle of nowhere. I was able to make it back to Loganville, which is, there's stuff there at least, it's a little city, so it wouldn't have been, on some country road, out in the middle of nothing. The truck eventually completely died. It would turn over. It would turn over and over and over, but not start. I had to have it towed back to Marietta, which is 65 plus miles. It was an expensive tow, to say the least. So, you start going over things in your head. All right, why did this happen? Now, I'm no master mechanic. I won't lead anyone to believe that. I'm just a guy who insists on fixing stuff on my own if I can. Everyone does YouTube, and they Google the problem and see if other people have experienced the same problem. And if you look that up, you'll be going, oh my God, that could be a zillion things that have caused this truck not to run anymore, even though it will turn over. Anyway, so, the first thing I'm going is, all right, I stopped at a gas station to fill up that I've never been to before, and it was this kind of small gas station, it's a little bit questionable, that kind of thing. So I'm going, okay, maybe I got some bad fuel. So I'm trying to start with simple stuff, inexpensive things, just easy things that I can quickly either remove or swap out, that kind of thing, So I empty all the fuel out of the fuel tank and replace it with some fresh fuel, at least, a few gallons of fresh. And it would only sort of crank for a moment. So I'm thinking, okay, fuel pump. Maybe the fuel pump's failing. Had a fuel pump done. It would only sort of crank after that, but not stay running properly. You know, it just wasn't doing right. You know, you're just going, that something's still not right here. So then you just keep going step by step, you know, through stuff that people tell you it could be or should be, you know, or you try to follow some diagnostics that, you know, professionals, you know, try to instruct you on YouTube and all that. You just go step by step through all of them. And then when you start looking at things on the truck, you know, this is a 30-year-old truck, you'll see like wires that are suspect, you'll see parts that are old looking, you know, stuff that looks original, and you're going, I might as well replace this stuff, you know, because it looks horrible and it's all suspect. I'm guilty of that sometimes, even though I probably shouldn't be replacing all kinds of parts without confirming they're the problem. But if they look bad, I replace them. You know, say what you will. I know a lot of you do the same thing like that. Anyway, so the two obvious things. Fuel was not the problem why it wasn't running. Fuel pump replaced. Didn't help. So you just start going through all of them. How about grounding points? The ground straps looked horrible. All right, I replaced all three of the main ground straps. I have a video on that. Didn't help. The coil, spark plug wires, fuel pump relay, all fuses, you know, in the cabin and that sort of thing. You know, stuff that's easily accessible. I replaced every fuse in there. I replaced the fuel pump relay. Didn't help. The distributor, the ignition module, the full distributor, not just the cap and rotor, but the complete distributor, didn't make a change. Ignition module, didn't help. Now, there are, what are they called? Fusible links on the passenger side in the front, you know, in the engine compartment. I did do a little bit of probing to make sure power was going through them, and it seemed to be okay, but the fusible links I did not replace. That's another one that some people say solved their problem. I rebuilt the TBI, all new, you know, injectors, all that stuff, because it looked old, it looked nasty. So I even bought a completely rebuilt TBI, and you know how expensive those are. Replaced it. The issue was I was getting fuel to the TBI, but not beyond that. So the fuel is not actually getting into the fuel injectors. I looked at the wiring relating to those little injector pods. They look suspect, so I restored them, you know, do new soldering, new connectors. Those connectors are insanely expensive. I think they're like $50 just for the connectors that go to the coil and all that, you know. I mean, oh my God, so expensive. Didn't help. You're just basically going all the way down the line, you know. Is getting power to those little power distribution block that's on the passenger side and on the firewall. The knock sensor, because I previously was getting a code 43 knock sensor. Check those videos out too. I replaced the knock sensor, and that didn't actually fix the code 43. Fixing the code 43 was the coolant temp sensor. Believe that one. Totally true though. Excuse me if I ramble, but you know, if you're getting a code 43 on this truck, you know, this is like 88 to 95 models, sometimes 88 to 92 models. If you get code 43 on your display and you replace the knock sensor, which is what that code stands for, and it still doesn't fix it, replace your coolant temp sensor. Fix mine. Doesn't make sense, but it fixed it. Anyway, so basically everything involving what should make this truck run, aside from some rear grounding points that are supposed to be in the rear of the truck, I did not investigate those. I only think there's a couple of them. I'm getting power from the fuel pump, so that means its grounding should be fine. You know, so all the logical things that, you know, and they sometimes say the ignition switch, you you know, on your steering column. Sometimes that needs to be replaced. I did not investigate that. But that's one of those, you know, it's just weird things. Anyway, the last straw was, you know, I'm working with trying to turn it over. You turn the key on, you know, and I'm making sure I have power in the cabin and all that. And I would notice power just diminish from the cabin. Like all my interior lights and all that would just dim down to almost nothing while I just have either the key turned to the accessory or the on position, or just opening the doors also. I'm looking at that going, okay, that's just not right. You know, it just makes no sense. This battery is new, $180 battery. You know, it's a good quality battery. It's not some hack piece of crap or whatever. So voltage is not being consistent coming from the power system. All right. So, you know, that's why we all think ground straps, grounding and all that. I went through all that, did not help. So, you know, and trying to turn it over so many times, trying to turn the truck over so many times, they end up killing the battery. So, you know, you had to keep a charge on it at all times. But this was basically the last straw. I noticed, even with nothing attached to the battery, truck completely disconnected from the battery. If I put like a voltmeter on it, it would show the correct voltage, which is, you know, in the high 13s. Even with, and then when the probe still touched to the battery, voltage would drop down to about 6, 5. This is with nothing attached to the battery. I'm going, okay, that's not right. That tells me something is up with this battery. The battery is obviously defective, got a problem, something like that, because we know that's not normal for voltage to just go all over the place when disconnected with no load on it. One step before that too. One of the last times I tried to turn the truck over, you know, it would go and then it would go clunk one time. It went clunk, that kind of clunk where you think it's a dead battery issue. And this on a fully charged, you know, plenty good battery. It clunked. Never cranked after that. It's not a starter. Starter's been replaced also. Alternator tested out good. All wiring going to the alternator, I had either restored, refreshed, improved. All wiring come from the battery to the body. All new battery cables. You know, you just keep going down the list. Everything. I replaced it all, whether it needed it or not. That's how frustrating it gets. You're just going, I'm putting everything new on it. It should run, right? No. All right, so I think at that point, when I tried to turn it over that one last time and I heard some clunk sound, I think this random voltage that was coming from this battery, I think it fried the main computer. Now you can call it whatever you want, PCM, ECU, PCU, all those different terms. I just call it the main computer, which is it's behind the glove box on the passenger side, inside the cabin. I think the battery fried the main computer. Now that was the last I touched this truck. I bought a confirmed working used computer. Haven't installed it yet. Not gonna install it. I've already sold this truck. The guy's coming to pick it up in a day or so. But what I'm doing with this video is to explain to you guys how complicated one of these trucks can be if it will not run for no apparent reason, and you've eliminated so many other things. You know, I mean, if it's a defective battery on your end, that's very rare, I know, because it's extremely rare, because I replaced everything else that should have got it going. Anyway, that was the last I touched it. In total pissed off frustration, I told myself I'll come back to this in a few months or something. you know, try to get it going again at some point. That point never came. Really, really upset about it, you know, because you work so hard on a vehicle to improve it, you know, make it do better. Electric fans, you know, I've got coolant temp sensing fans that kick on at 190 degrees. You know, I mean, there's no switches to turn on. That's totally awesome. Complete new air conditioning system that I installed myself. I've never done that in my entire life. Complete new AC. I got videos on that also. So check out, you know, I'll put the playlist link of this truck, of all the mods and things. Rear brakes were overheating. Took me weeks to figure out why the rear brakes were overheating. Solved it. Check out that video. Rear differential, rear end is completely rebuilt. I didn't do that, but I know what it looks like inside now. You know, it's a four-wheel drive Silverado. Not very easy to find, and it's a 5.7, 350. So, you know, this truck is not as common out there as some of the other 88 to 92 Silverados that are usually a 305 or a two-wheel drive. The four-wheel drive one is not as common. Anyway, you know, stereo stuff I did, instrument cluster stuff I did, so many things. Oh my God, ridiculous how many good things I did to improve it, and it just said, I'm done, I'm not running anymore. And, you know, you can only tolerate it so long before you basically give up on it, hope you can sell it for a decent amount of money. Maybe sell it to someone who, you know, either is good with these trucks or has a mechanic who's good with them, which is what has happened. So, you know, it's disappointing that it's not running in my possession, but the next guy is gonna get her going, hopefully, and it'll keep on going, you know, because everything else in it is really great aside from the paint. But whatever, who cares about that, right? Interior on that thing looks almost new. But the dash right now is a disaster because I tore everything apart in the dash to try and investigate grounding problems, wiring problems, fuses, you know, I mean, just so many things. Oh, so the interior dash cluster is a mess when it used to be unbelievable. It's like, anyway, so I can't really help you guys on anything further, but I wanted you to know the entire story of the ordeal of when this truck decided to quit running. And, you know, if you have some other questions or comments, I can't really benefit from them because I don't have the truck anymore. I have moved on from it. And, so anyway, look for the playlist link, and I'll have the thumbnail link at the end of this video that sends you to everything about this truck, both good and bad. And I just wanted to talk about it while driving around here, you know, so that I can sort of relax and have a clear head, so to speak. Check out our other videos as well. We have tons of motocross related videos, you know, working on a lawnmower, a chainsaw, the stuff around the house. So many things, you know. If we have a way to help you fix a thing, we try to do a video on it. And we also have entertainment on our channel, you know, especially if you're into motorcycles and drag racing and stuff like that. We have just almost 2,000 videos on our channel. Check it out. And I don't know what else to say, but hopefully you haven't had a problem like this in your Chevy 1500 or 2500 or 3500. And or if you have comments on situations where you had to solve a crazy problem that did not include all the ways that I tried to fix mine, it didn't work, throw them down below. It'll help people in the future because so many people have issues like this with these vehicles, and I can believe I totally get it, how frustrating it is. Anyway, that's it. I won't ramble anymore. Y'all have a great day. It's a Saturday afternoon in Atlanta, GA. Biker Dave signing off. Make sure you Google Horsepower House. We are all over the internet. Have a good day. We'll see you.